heard it go ding.
Yes.
That's usually a good sign. Alrighty. Let me just check this one thing here.
It's like not really going.
Hey, there we are.
It's working now?
Yes, I see us now. Yay. This is good.
What?
This is good stuff now.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. You know me. Okay, no, you don't, but you know who I am. I am Issa J, and alongside me is
Liam Landry.
yes, and
Then we're finally definitely up. Okay, now
yes,
I see it.
We're finally definitely up. Sorry about the weirdness that happened. Apparently, I tried to do one thing and it wouldn't let me, so I had to do it a different way.
Yes.
Story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Bare Bones Geeky Podcast, where we take a really awesome topic in geek culture and we peel it, the skin and all, to the bare bones. It's the whole point of the show. We really get in depth with our discussions.
Really got to make it gruesome, huh?
Very much so. Just like what's going to happen at the end of season 8 of Game of Thrones. All I can predict is it will be gruesome. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Game of Thrones. But more specifically, we're talking about our feelings and thoughts about season 8 thus far. So if you haven't seen any of season 8 yet, here's a spoiler warning before we jump into it. We're not going to get too heavy into spoilers as much as we can. But if it slips...
Arya gets killed by the Hound.
Twice.
Yes.
So Barrett brought her back, but he was like, no! What's dead may never die.
What's dead has to kind of stay dead, or else.
Kind of makes no sense if you just don't let them.
And then Dany and Drago ends up getting together, the dragon itself.
Yeah, that one was a shock. Everyone.
Then she gets pregnant and literally becomes the mother of dragons.
Yeah, the Twitterverse was not happy with that one.
Yeah, no, they were like completely messes up her character. I thought it did fine with it.
I mean, I thought they were, because she's a Targaryen, she's known for crazy stuff. I thought they were building up to that since season 1, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not everyone can be satisfied.
I thought it was crazier that Missandei left Grey Worm for Sansa. I thought that was out of nowhere.
No, that one was. But it was really upsetting when Grey Worm stabbed himself and killed himself because of the betrayal.
Yes.
It was like, Grey Worm, you could have had Sansa too. And then Theon Greyjoy, he saves Yara by having the most epic water battle with Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah, it was so epic that his penis grew back. I didn't even see that coming at all.
I don't know who could have.
Do you know who could? George R.R. Martin.
Exactly.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Brandon Stark. But he also got the crow powers ripped from him from the Night King. Apparently the Night King just wanted those powers the whole time and wanted to be the crow. I actually killed the crow.
The Three-Eyed Raven?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Three-Eyed Raven.
Yeah, he just took the powers and then headed back.
Yeah, he was like, alright, we're leaving. It's like, well, all you had to do was ask, buddy.
It was very mirroring the whole Mance Raider thing.
Yes.
When realistically he should have just came up initially and was like, "Hey, can we cross?" Instead of fighting them first, because that would have like hurt your position there. Should have just kind of came in like first, like, "Hey, can we cross? We're running away because in fear of something." But not. So it's really like mirroring that basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Game of Thrones is—a bunch of mirrors.
Yeah.
If you actually open the book, it's just a mirror. It's a reflection. A lot of people don't know that because they can't read.
And not only that, but yeah, I feel so bad for anybody watching this. There's like spoilers when we go up to all of this. You'll be like, what the crud did they do to my show?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be upset with all these spoilers.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, obviously none of that happened. I think we would have stopped watching it. Actually, I would have kept watching just to see what would have happened next.
Sir Davos Seaworth ends up getting married to Jorah Mormont.
Mm-hmm.
and they adopt Leanna Momont, the little girl,
Mm-hmm.
and then they raise them as in like a sitcom. It's kind of like My Two Dads, but in Westeros.
Yeah.
It's very cute and heartfelt.
It just sucks that Davos had to sacrifice himself for both Jorah and Lyanna, so they can actually stay alive.
That was a tragic moment, but I mean, it just really helped put it all together.
But anyway, here comes our real thoughts on the show.
And then the custody battle between Jorah and Tormund over Lyanna. Well, Lyanna. With the Lyanna Momont.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty. Yeah, that's actually a theory. Is that Tormund is her father?
Oh, interesting.
Because there's like the story in the book and in the TV show about him having sex with a bear, and people believe that it wasn't a real bear, but what it actually was a woman called the she bear, which is Lady Momont, which her mother,
Okay.
who would have ended up, I guess in the show, since we don't see her again, end up dying in the Red Wedding. So they believe that it was actually,
That's interesting.
yeah, that he might be her father.
Do they allude to any funny business with Lyanna's hair in the books? Do you know?
But it's kind of interesting because like the books, the other Mormonts say like that the she bear doesn't have a husband,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no idea who the father is.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
that'd be interesting.
yeah.
But yeah.
But back on track.
Yeah, it's back on real track.
Talking about Game of Thrones, I guess it won't get into as much spoilers, unless we have to. But we'll talk about our opinions on.
If it, we'll try to be. We'll try to dance around the heavy spoilers. If it's something that has to come up,
Bran was the Night King all along.
then it will. But yeah, it's not gonna be ridiculously spoiler heavy, but it's also not gonna be spoiler free. It's gonna be in that balance in between.
Yes.
So we're
As
just gonna
all
go.
things should be.
Yeah, it should be. So we're just gonna go episode by episode with all the key points and see exactly how we feel each and every time. And in the first one, we see everybody finally getting to reunite, and especially the Stark family, or at least what's left of them. And John and Dany with her entire army go by, and John reunites with Arya and Bran again for the first time, which was heartfelt. Dany tells Sam that she's killed his brother and father, and just John finding out he is in fact Aegon Targaryen, all of which we found out in season 6, of course, and a couple little bitty spoilers here.
Would it be 7?
I mean 7.
Yeah.
That's right, 7. Teased in 6, confirmed in 7. So
thought about since like the late 90s.
Yeah.
Since the book came out, I think even after the first,
show watchers only.
Yeah, I think after the first book came out, people already speculated that.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so and then a couple other things happen here and there along the way. Not a lot of a spoiler-heavy episode, or nothing that really is like, whoa, what?
No, they had to do a lot of recapping, so there was a lot of what from the characters themselves to other characters. But yeah, what is it? But yeah, there's not much new thing for us to have for this episode, so it's not really spoiler heavy. But it's a nice way to start out slow from it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this shows off one problem that he did have in some of the later seasons
Mm-hmm.
when it came to the writing, that it didn't have as good of a dialogue with a lot of them. It definitely kind of came a little more quippiness and stuff, and didn't seem as rich and deep as it was beforehand, when they kind of had more stuff to work off of.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was still a fun kind of partially fan service episode as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was criminal how long we had to wait for Sansa and then the Hound to meet up with each other.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't even get to meet up in this episode.
No, not until episode 4.
Yeah. But we did get the Hound having a little meet up with Arya.
Yeah, a smaller meetup with Arya, but he had a better one in the next episode, though. Really.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arya meeting up with Gendry for the first time in a while as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was nice. It eased you into this world again after being out for a year and a half. So.
Or for some people, a few months.
True, the ones who just started, like yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely had a good feeling of here's where we were, here's what we're about to face, and then you tell at the point where it's gonna get. Now we're getting into full on story is when you see Jaime Lannister come by at the very end. He sees Bran, has a flashback. The character has. He remembers who he was and all that, and fear strikes his face and roll credits. That one really got me when you see Jaime and he's just looking at Bran. I was just like, no, they're not gonna do. They did it, and I thought that was really effective.
Yeah, Jaime just standing there thinking, man, where's the window when you need it?
Are we right? But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this episode. The next episode is all about them dealing with the
preparations for the White Walkers coming.
Yes.
And still kind of a little more of the carryover. Some people did come up and say that they could have maybe stretched out the first episode to just make it into it, because it seems like a continuing episode realistically, so it's just a lot more of the first, just with maybe a little more tensions rising from the incoming battle and all.
But we also get a lot of story and character with Daenerys and Jon Snow.
Yeah, because he has to reveal the
He's fighting
secret
within himself. He's every time she tries to go to him, he leaves really quickly. He doesn't want the knowledge that he has, and Daenerys can really tell. And every single time she's looking, and he's like looking away or running away as quick as possible, like she can tell something's up. And at the end of the episode, when he reveals it,
he has a face that really screams, "I just slept with my aunt."
Yeah. And then after he reveals it, she's like, wait a minute, are you kidding me? I want the throne. You have a right to the throne now. I want the throne. And that's when her fall starts in this season. But it's not yet there because Jon still wants her to be queen. And we'll get to that in the last 2 episodes. But boy, oh boy. What were your thoughts with the final group scene with Brienne, Tormund, Davos, Tyrion, and Jaime?
I thought it had a lot of good stuff in there.
And Podrick. My bad.
Yes, and Podrick, Yeah, Podrick really didn't end up getting that much in this season, don't you think?
Not really, not at all.
He at least gets a song in here, and I think it's great because the other part of this episode is that they do finish a lot of arcs, with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in that scene, we had another arc completed. So I thought it was good. It was still like a lot of carryover from the last episode, just with the addition of ending a lot of arcs and all. A good meetup between Arya and the Hound, and then Arya and Gendry.
Mm-hmm. And then she only leaves the Hound when Sir Barrett comes and they start moping, which I thought was a funny little scene.
I remember people speculating that she actually wanted the Hound first, but then got cock blocked by Sir Barrett, so that's when she found Gendry. And I was like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah, the Hound is definitely more like a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this was the episode where we got a lot of the not so much reunions, but what's the word I'm looking for? We got a lot of the characters' thoughts. Not so much through what they were saying all the time, but through their faces, through their actions. And we really got to see, or at least we got to speculate the inner monologues by how the actors were doing in their scenes. And I thought they were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I really did like, and it was pointed out by someone, I think Got Culture, was in this episode, the six of them were drinking by the fire, and out of nowhere Tyrion goes, what if we actually survive this war? And everybody at that table or around in those chairs did. We also had a really nice moment for Brienne. We won't spoil what that was.
They did spoil that they're all alive after the Great War. So
I did.
Yeah.
I should have waited till the next episode we talk about it.
Yeah.
But
if you can't see, I'm making that Daenerys face.
Oh.
Someone taller.
But yeah, so it was really cool that Tyrion was like, what if we survive all this? And it's just like a lot more crud's about to go down, I'm guessing, if y'all do. But yeah, let's jump right into the next one. It's the Long Night, the Night King, the White Walkers.
You didn't want to talk about the Arya and Gendry sex scene?
It made me uncomfortable.
It's always good to remember that if you have sex with someone and they don't fall asleep after, they're going to leave you. We'll get into more on that, in future episodes, but yeah, just remember that.
Yeah, episode 3.
The Long Night, when the White Walkers finally invade.
Yeah, we have the Whites, the White Walkers, and the Night King with his white dragon, and they're now here, and we get a lot of really cool visuals. A lot of people said they weren't able to actually see the episode very well because of how it was shot. Luckily for us, that didn't really hurt us too much.
Yes, the standard picture on my new TV was just completely fine, so I did feel like it was a lot of on other people's parts to just not, change the brightness.
Yeah, you see, if you actually go look like on YouTube clips and stuff, you can barely see anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, a really, really good battle episode. From start to finish, it was just, I love the opening shot where you see Sam get his weapons and it's just a one long tracking shot following him and then going to Tyrion and following him for a bit. That was actually a really, really well done shot.
Yeah, Sam really shouldn't have been out there, Tolly.
Exactly. He should have been in the crypt with
So
his baby.
somehow survived. They probably should have put Baby Sam out there. Might have had a better chance.
Hmm. At least the Lord's Commander of the Night's Watch wouldn't have died.
Yes.
I felt like out of all the deaths and all of the negatives, him dying was the worst because it was just it sucked that Sam was so close to dying. He gets saved and he just sits there and Lord's Commander comes up and is like, Sam, move, and he just gets stabbed in the back of the head. It's just like, oh, come on, man. This is how he's going out?
That White was like, Sam's my favorite character. Don't yell at him, stab.
Yeah. And then somehow he survived all the way through, and he didn't do anything.
No.
Everyone else did a lot of things.
Yes, a lot of fighting at least.
Mm-hmm. Arya had two really cool moments. The first when she's actually starting to fight with her new weapon Gendry made for her, and of course when she's in the crypt.
The sex spear, as it's called.
Mm-hmm. And when she's in the crypt, and they have that scene of horror where she has to be quiet and maneuver.
Well, it's not
around.
in the crypt; it's just really in the castle.
The library. I mean, I think it was the castle library. I thought that was really, really cool. The scene in the crypt with Sansa and Tyrion was really nice.
You know, I kind of question what they did with the writing for Sansa in that moment, because you look back at the Battle of Blackwater. In there, Sansa was doing a lot to help the spirits of everyone. In there, she was praying with the other women and all.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the book she's done even more to try to lift everyone's spirits and try to make them feel like we're gonna get through this and be safe. But in the show, she's just kind of a little all moody and stuff in this segment. It would have been better to have her be in a scenario where she's trying to comfort the people and being a leader to them would have been.
I feel like that would be really good and really cool, but I feel like it all goes full circle where she was more of the optimist, and then Ramsay, Littlefinger, and Joffrey slowly but surely chipped that away from her, especially Ramsay, and now she's.
I mean, it doesn't even necessarily
like
doesn't necessarily mean it has to be her to be an optimist, but more of her to be a comforter.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that she has to actually believe it herself.
But it feels a little bit like a full circle.
Because I think she would learn from Cersei, but be better than her in that regard.
Mm-hmm. You would hope.
Yeah.
But yeah.
At least she wasn't drunk and holding Tyrion with a bottle of nightshade.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, they also cut out the part in there. Apparently, they filmed them killing off some of the whites. That was apparently a deleted scene in that.
They should have kept that in.
Yeah.
It would have. That. Because everyone was basically saying, oh, they just survived and hid, and them actually fighting and killing off some of those whites would have been better for everyone involved, I feel. Obviously, okay. Here's the first of the few major spoilers that we will do. Night King does not survive this episode, so if you've been on Twitter, you've probably seen a lot of the hate or a lot of the love, depending on which way you fall. We won't spoil who gets the job done, without spoiling, how did you feel about the Night King in this episode?
I would say that most people didn't really come up with a good idea of what they could do as a back out for it. Like everyone thinking like, oh, they'll fall back, and it's like, how do they fall back? Where do they fall back to? It's not really a good possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
Winterfell is not really close to ships, so it's not like he can sail on out of there. And he surrounded, or mostly surrounded, and the only gate to the entire castle is the area where they're coming at. So there's not really a lot of options where you can actually have them leave. So they really had to kill the Night King there, or else just have Danny and John fly off to try to do something, and every single other person dies.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't a practical decision from there. So it's always going to end there. And you can always say, well, it's kind of anticlimactic, but I mean, when you get to episode 8 and Night King's still around, and then you defeat the Night King in episode 8, well, that still would have been one episode. So it's like, you can't, it's like, how could you ever make it any, really fix the anticlimacticness of it all? It's a gigantic battle where they fought and killed him. I mean, that's basically all you really could have done.
And at least they gave a lot of 2 really good teases before it, or 3. 1 decent, 2 really good, where Daenerys has him cornered, and Jacaerys, the dragon, is blowing fire on him. Or Jon Snow, he's trying to run at him and catch him from behind. He turns around and raises more of the dead. They had a lot of good scenes where like he's right there, and it's just not yet. It's just not yet. Other than, of course, the Lord Commander that we spoiled, were there any other death scenes where you felt like, wow, that was actually really good, or I wish they didn't do that, without spoiling who they are?
Yeah, man, I really wish they didn't rip out baby Sam's guts and eat them on camera. That was gruesome. No, for the most part, I think everything else was fine.
Yeah, there's one character I wish she wouldn't have died, but at least she went out like a champ, which was really cool. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So
Daenerys Stormborn.
Haha, funny. But yeah, let's transition into the next episode, the aftermath of this battle, which is the last of the Starks. And it starts off like a mourning funeral into, oh my gosh, we survived type of episode. And it's basically 2 episodes in one. So what did you think about the first part where they're still in Winterfell and things are going down?
I think that was all good. It showed what it needed to be. People celebrating. Allows to have more of an impact of what the battle was the night before, by showing people being able to celebrate and show how much it mattered to them. So I think it was all good. And as I teased before, you have Arya leaving Gendry as a reflection, from very early on in season 1. She mentioned how she doesn't want to be a lady in the castle, and basically that's what Gendry was offering, and so it was pretty obvious there. So I think it was a lot of good completion of the arcs and a good follow-up to there. I think it also helps push, Daenerys's growing madness and stall. Her feeling that she's not loved by the people in Westeros and being rejected by it. Really, which is a new thing for her, to feel rejected by people. And then feeling, her throne is under, her claim is under attack. So they do a good job building the tensions there, and continuing the tensions from her and Sansa and all. So I think all that is done pretty well. How about you?
Um, I again. So I'm one of the people that just loves this show to no end. Um, I'm one of the few that actually really like season 6 and 7. I have a history when it comes to religious people, so I found that entire season with the High Sparrow really captivating. Moving on to this portion of the episode, though, seeing everyone all happy, seeing some characters hook up together and then others leave each other. I thought it was needed, if you know what I mean, especially Daenerys Targaryen. This is where you really start to see, like you said, her descent into the madness, but more so, we really get to see her jealousy. She's looking at John, and she wants him, and she wants the people that loves him to love her. But since episode 1 of this season, they've all just pushed away at her, and they haven't chosen her. And now we really get to see it's starting to get to her, especially when everyone's like, he jumped on a dragon and rode the dragon. Who does that? A king does that. She's been doing that since season 3 or 4, I believe 3.
It's whatever they had the Sons of the Harpies.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever that season was.
Yeah. So they have
Also,
them
to
trapped in that little-
correct the line, it's he jumped on a dragon, rode it. The only 2 people would have done that: a king or a madman. So that even adds more to it, because she looks at them calling him a king, and must think that she must be a madman or something.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, "Well, I'm doing that too. Why do you not see me in the same light? Why do you picture me as something different, something worse?" So, and we really get to see it. We really get to see those seeds finally bearing their fruit. And she lost someone really, really close to her in the episode prior. So without this key figure that's been in her life since season 1 and has been on her side and been the only person to talk sense into her, without this person, she's now slowly but surely just about to snap. Moving on to the second portion of the episode, what did you think? They finally get to the Dragon's Keep?
Dragonstone.
Dragonstone. They finally get to Dragonstone, and everything just goes boom from there.
I think it was I don't know, it just seemed sloppy. I think I would have gone different routes for it. You had the whole things where, like, it definitely shouldn't have happened like this. A lot of question marks. I understand the setup and everything, but I think the execution doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I was not really digging the second half. I thought it could have been done better.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah, I can totally understand your I understand that point. Yeah, they have a really good vantage point, and out of nowhere, something big happens where it's just like, they should have been able to see that coming. Also, another key figure in Daenerys' life gets kidnapped, and you're just like, well, drat, how? It felt like season 1, where we see Tyrion get knocked out before a major battle, and when he wakes up, it's completely done. That's what happened here. and it really suffered for that because this isn't season 1; it's season 8. We should be able to see everything go down, and we didn't, and that was really upsetting. Any last points on this episode that you can think of?
No, not that I can think of. No.
All right, and then moving on to the final episode that anybody has seen thus far, which is The Bells. Daenerys is about to go to King's Landing, and she wants some revenge. Another key figure of her life sadly passes, and after giving the okay to just burn this place down, she's just ready to go. Tyrion is trying to calm her down. Varys is flip-flopping away, and it's a slow build, but once it gets to a certain point, it just goes boom. So what were your thoughts? When in this episode?
I thought it was. I was having problems at first there, but then as I saw how it was developing, it all made sense, and I thought it was a very sensible episode to really throw things around and really turn things on their head, and just very cool visuals and all. So I thought it was pretty good.
All right, give me one quick second and talk more about it.
Okay, so to talk more about it, I really saw it coming, unlike a lot of other people. I don't know why they didn't really think it was going to be coming in. It made a lot of sense for it to happen, and it was showing and developing not only for multiple seasons, but definitely in that season itself. It was leaning towards that always going to be the case and always was going to happen. But yeah, some people thought it didn't make sense, but realistically, it's a logical breakdown, and yeah, like I said, there's real good visuals. I know some people were upset that they didn't bother to do the CGI for Jon to pet Ghost, but they had all this CGI and all the other ones. But I think what people don't understand is that they didn't want to waste time on non-essential CGI because it's time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think petting would have been not time consuming.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. But yeah. So for me, I thought a lot of really good little bitty Easter eggs was being thrown around with Varys, his little bird, Tyrion, Grey Worm, for me, and I think once the battle at King's Landing happens, it starts, and then once this other point happens, it just does not let up until the episode is done, and it felt like a disaster horror movie done correctly. A lot of disaster movies just feel like, oh, here's a disaster that we can't have any control over, and everyone just feels pointless, and at the end of the movie you're just like, well, did we really need it? What did we learn here? However, this, not only is there a force that people can't control, but it's being controlled by someone else. It's not just this random occurrence. Someone is literally controlling this disaster, and that makes it so much more scarier, so much more impactful. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought that was very impactful, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Very devastating. You got to see it from ground level, which made it a lot more realistic, and they tried to make more characters seem real, so it seems more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
like people actually being killed there. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
And then we'll and let's just do one final major spoiler. We don't even have to say how it ends, but we finally
Grey
get,
Worm kills Jon Snow.
oh snap! But let's get to the Mountain versus the Hound. We finally got it here.
The Clegane Bowl.
Yes. Did you talk about this one while I was out?
No.
All right. Your thoughts, because for anyone who doesn't know who our favorite characters are, mine is Daenerys Targaryen, and Liam's here is
The Hound.
yes.
Yeah,
so I know he has been waiting for this moment since season 1.
I would say it's what I thought it would have been in the end of the day if I really thought about it. So yeah, so I thought it was quite satisfying.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people so far haven't been really satisfied with this season. I would say.
And I will add this: I think the development for Daenerys has helped redeem her a bit, because I thought she was kind of boring and almost Mary Sue-ish at times in some of the earlier seasons. So I think that's helped balance it out by basically showing that was all set up for this. So
yeah, I mean, having, I think, every single thing go your way and people loving you and joining your side, and then when you get to a new land where you feel like this is supposed to be yours, but the people hate you, or they're pushing away from you because they think you're trying to control them when you're trying to free them. It has to be maddening. It has to be maddening, and it just makes sense that she went down the road she went. Yeah. Any final thoughts on the season thus far before tonight when it all ends?
no, I don't think I have anything more to wrap up than what I was already saying. I don't want to really reiterate myself. How about you?
Yeah, the only thing is, I think you were talking about this when I was down. It would have to be the CGI this season, and the cinematography has been looking amazing, with amazing shots and amazing moments. It goes to show you, at least at a production point, just how amazing they are. I cannot wait for this last episode, and yeah, I think it's gonna be emotional for me, at least, because I think this is the episode where everyone thinks, oh, this is one way, but they're not really thinking Game of Thrones at the moment. And I think what's about to happen is a lot of people are just not gonna make it. And I'm talking good guys and bad guys. And I honestly do not see Daenerys Targaryen as a bad guy, as a villain. She killed a lot of people who were probably innocent. But she didn't see that at all. She at no point thought, once Tyrion said, these are people who are free, they don't wear chains, well then why serve someone who is horrible? She sees them as Cersei Lannister. All she sees when she sees these people are little Cersei Lannisters. So in her mind, well, it's time for fear then. Here we go.
I mean, you can argue that the Night King feels the same way about the people of Westeros.
Yeah.
As someone who was invented to fight off an invading force
Also,
of the first
also
man.
and I've always felt at the start of this season until now, it's going to be a story not only of tragedy, because this is a very tragic story. You see the first season, episode 9, when Ned Stark gets his head chopped off.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen season 1 yet, I'm sorry. Where have you been? But after Ned Stark...
Have a life, nerd.
Once this happens, you really see, okay, this is not going to be a happy show. There'll be some happy moments, of course, but a lot of grief and sadness will happen. This, episode 6 of season 8, this is where it's really going to hit home. Where you're like, oh, drat, this is very tragic. As well as a story of repetitiveness. I felt that after Tormund went to Jon and said, hey, I'm going north. I'm going back to our lands and we're going to be the free folk up there again. That's kind of what happened with the separation after the first longest night. They separated.
Mm-hmm.
What happens after the separation? Well, they get into conflict. And now the Night's Watch has to be built up. And they have to make sure no wildlings tries it. And then the miscommunication of, oh, the wildling started it. Oh, the crows or the northerners or the Westeros people started it. That storyline is going to come back again. Oh, the Mad Queen. Oh, this person is now in a war with this person. But oh, it's all going to come full circle yet again. I see that happening. And it's just what has always meant to be when it comes to this series. And you saw that completely with Jaime's arc, where there's his redemption, but he chooses against it. He goes back. He goes full circle and he's back. This story has been a full circle story from season 1 up until now, where you're on this huge journey of, oh drat, these people are back and probably worse for it. Jon Snow is Ned Stark. Daenerys is Aegon. Sansa is now Littlefinger. What did Sansa say in season 1? She wanted to be queen. Not only is she Littlefinger, she's Cersei Lannister. It's all coming around yet again, and the new generation of Game of Thrones will happen. Yeah, and that's the episode for this. That's the end of that part of the episode. One last thing we're going to do, which is a little surprise to Liam here. It has been announced that the prequel series is filming, actually. They're in production, they're filming. They're out there in Northern Ireland filming. And it's supposed to be about the Children of the Forest, I believe they're called.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the new show coming up?
Well, I guess it depends on what the concept of the Children of the Forest is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about the invasion of the first men and the creation of the first White Walkers and the first White Walkers, I mean, and the creation of the Night King.
I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go, but I'm intrigued to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely be watching that series as well. Any final last predictions?
No, not really. How about you?
Other than it'll come full circle, that's all I really have.
Okay, then. You want to sign out, or?
Let's sign out, good sir. Please leave us comments down below what you guys think of this season. We would really love to hear it and get your opinions on why you think the way you do. After you do that, please give this video a sexy, sexy like.
And the unsexy ones.
Don't forget to share this video and all of our videos to your friends.
And enemies.
After you do all of that, you should definitely hit that subscribe button so that way you are part of the Skeleton Army. Then go and ring that notification bell because
you want to get notified for when this podcast goes live and when any time that Issa puts out videos on this channel or information, polls, whatever. Yeah, ring that bell so you can get notified, and sometimes not even then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hopefully you do.
Hopefully you do, yeah. So make sure to ring that bell so you can stay up to date. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Liam_SWA.
And you can follow me on Twitter at IsaJ_STP. Almost screwed that up. Let me try that again. At IsaJ_STP on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought we had to put the spaces into your Twitter handle.
No, we don't have to put any spaces in there. Yeah, and Season 8, the whole entire Game of Thrones series, it's finishing, it's ending today. Here we go. Before I do the final bit, the next thing we are going to talk about is cartoons. Alright, guys. Oh, also, we're going to be doing our podcast Saturday next week, not Sunday.
Okay.
So, for Bare Bones Geeky Podcast.
Okay.
If that's cool.
I guess so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alright, guys. Until next time, it will be awesome.
See you, everybody.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.